Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel, General Hospital Diaries. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. As Sonny lay on his living room floor, clearly in pain, Ava stood over him, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "What's going on, Sonny? Feeling unwell? Should I call for help?" She mocked, her voice sweet but fake. Her tone shifted, growing colder. "Isn't it just awful to be in pain, needing someone but having no one around to help? It's such a terrible feeling, isn't it? Knowing that someone could step in, do something small, but instead they just stand there watching you suffer," she said bitterly. Christina walked into the room, horrified to find Sonny on the floor, reaching desperately for his pill bottle. Ava quickly made excuses, claiming she had every intention of helping Sonny, but Christina wasn't having it. She rushed to Sonny's side, gave him his medication, and ordered Ava to leave. Ava left, but Christina stayed to try and call for an ambulance. Sonny stopped her, not wanting anyone to find out what had happened. He admitted that he let Ava provoke him and went after her when he should have known better. And Ava just stood there the entire time. Christina asked, disbelief in her voice. Sonny nodded, just as Isaiah arrived to assess the situation. Isaiah confirmed that Sonny didn't need to go to the hospital, but Christina remained uneasy. After Christina left, Isaiah informed Sonny that the surgery wouldn't be delayed much longer and that it would be scheduled immediately. Sonny, however, asked him to hold off on that. He wanted the surgery done sooner, but only after he addressed some security issues first. As Isaiah opened the door to leave, Laura appeared in the doorway. She immediately noticed something was wrong, so Sonny confessed the truth. He had a heart condition. Sonny shared the details with Laura but insisted the surgery had to wait. He blamed himself for losing control with Ava and admitted his frustration with her had gotten the better of him. Meanwhile, Christina made her way to the cemetery, where she spoke to the baby she had named Adela. She recounted what had just happened with Sonny. "By refusing to help him, she's killing him, just like she killed you," Christina said, referring to Ava. She vented her anger and resolved to hold Ava accountable for her actions. "Ava's a danger, I need to stop her," Christina concluded. Before her visit to Sonny, Laura and Jordan had lunch at the Port Charles Grill, where they discussed Councilman Ezra Boyle. Laura expressed concern that Boyle had no problem being in the spotlight, but she worried Drew wouldn't be happy with the hospital event's media coverage. As if on cue, Boyle walked in and joined the mayor and deputy mayor. He wanted to discuss delays with the Esplanade project. He suggested bypassing the environmental impact report, but Laura wouldn't entertain it. Boyle proposed moving the project to Pier 55, but Laura and Jordan quickly shot down the idea, saying it wasn't feasible. Boyle insinuated that Laura's connection to Sonny was the real reason the Esplanade project hadn't been moved. "I think you should reconsider your position, instead of ignoring the ties you have to the local crime lord," he said. Laura remained calm and replied that she had nothing to hide, so she wasn't concerned. After Laura left, Jordan stayed behind to have a private conversation with Boyle. She warned him, "If you try to smear Laura, it's going to backfire on you." Boyle retorted that Laura's relationship with Sonny might eventually cause trouble for her. Jordan's next stop was Curtis' office, where she thanked him for the positive media coverage of the sports initiative. "Who wouldn't rather see pictures of you and Portia than focus on crooked competitors?" Curtis joked. Jordan was impressed, particularly when Curtis mentioned the name Kane. They didn't notice Rick and Ava sitting down at a nearby table. Ava eagerly shared the details of her visit to Sonny's place. "While I was there, Sonny collapsed right at my feet," she said. Rick was taken aback. "You heard me correctly, there's definitely something wrong with Sonny," she added. As Sonny's brother, Rick was able to confirm that Sonny hadn't been admitted to the hospital. Ava explained what had happened during her visit, but stressed that she had planned to help Sonny before Christina started accusing her. Ava believed that something serious was going on with Sonny, and she saw an opportunity to use this knowledge against him. Brooklyn and Lulu were deep in a heated discussion in the deception office, with Brooklyn accusing Lulu of feeling resentful and threatened due to Brooklyn's past relationship with Dante. "You thought you and Dante shared everything, but it turns out Dante has some secrets of his own. He kept our history hidden from you, and now you can't handle it." His response was that the real issue was having to cover for Brooklyn. Every time Dante looks at me and says how happy he is that I have Charlotte back, I can barely hold it together, knowing he has a son he has no idea about, Lulu confessed. When Emma and Gio walked in, Lulu decided to leave, relieved that Brooklyn wasn't her boss anymore. They shared their idea with Brooklyn to save the crypt and asked her to present it to the Quartermain family. Brooklyn surprised them by refusing and advising them against pursuing the idea. Brooklyn expressed concern that they might get caught up in the ongoing conflict between Drew and Tracy. "You're not full-fledged Hughes. You can walk away from this. Do it now while you still can," she warned. Eventually, she agreed to bring the idea to Ned, but outside her office, Gio and Emma decided it might be a good idea to speak with Monica about the property first. Meanwhile, Cody was startled by the sound of screams coming from the Quartermain boathouse. When he opened the door, he found Lulu there, angrily hitting a floaty with a plastic bat. Lulu explained she was there to see Rocco, but needed to release some frustration first. She told Cody she was upset about never knowing that Brooklyn and Dante had a relationship. Cody didn't see the big deal, pointing out that nothing ever came of it, but Lulu insisted that something significant had come from it. She admitted she was upset that Dante had lied to her about never having feelings for Brooklyn. Before his meeting with Jordan, Curtis had a conversation with Tracy and Stella in the Key Solarium. Stella believed Curtis and Tracy should get to know each other better because of their shared cause. Just then, Tracy received a call that Drew had arrived. She let him in eagerly, but when Drew saw Curtis, he immediately said, "Of course, you've teamed up with Tracy." Drew had a grievance with Curtis over calling him Drew Kane in the Aurora article instead of Drew Quartermain. Tracy argued that was his legal name, but Drew fired back that the cease and desist would never hold up in court. Curtis countered that it was accurate when the article was published, and thus he had every right to use the name Kane. Curtis reminded him that the article was getting positive press. "Isn't that what this is all about, not your ego, Congressman Kane?" Curtis asked, while Tracy looked on, clearly entertained. "Ditch the halo, Curtis. You want to play dirty? You got it," Drew snapped before walking out. Afterward, the women and Curtis toasted their teacups to a new, interesting alliance. Once they were alone, the ladies shared a laugh about Drew's visit. As for Drew, he later ended up at the Port Charles Grill with Boyle, where he had a few demands. Drew insisted that Boyle use his public works connections to bulldoze his family crypt as soon as possible. Ava tracked down Lucas at GH to plead with him for financial help. "Your father must have left you some inheritance, right?" she guessed, but Lucas told her that Julian hadn't left him anything. Ava wondered if Julian might have stashed money in an offshore account. "Even if there was, you couldn't pay me to touch that money," Lucas replied. "It's not for me, Lucas. I need it to pay off my debts so I can take care of my daughter," Ava explained. Lucas still insisted that there was nothing he could do for his favorite aunt. Christina stopped by Sonny's house to tell her dad that Ava was financially struggling. Sonny was shocked to hear that Ava had gone to Alexis asking for money. "Dad, Ava has shown her desperation. Now's the time to act. You have to fight for custody of Avery," Christina urged. Sonny didn't seem eager to go through another court battle, which Christina said she understood. Sonny mainly just nodded, saying he'd think about it. When Sonny mentioned that Donna was around, Christina went to spend time with her little sister. Once Sonny was alone in the living room, he opened the door to find Ava standing there. Ava didn't waste any time and asked for more child support. "How much does Avery need?" "About as much as you need to cover your IRS debts?" Sonny asked. "If you're asking for money for yourself, just have the guts to ask me directly instead of hiding behind our daughter," he added. Sonny chuckled when Ava requested $2 million. Ava promised to repay every penny with interest. Sonny agreed to lend her the money on one condition: they revisit the custody agreement. Ava thought they had just settled that. Sonny suggested that Ava only get Avery 2 weekends a month. "Over my dead body," Ava shot back. The two began to argue, with Ava accusing Sonny of being a bad father for not visiting Michael in a German burn clinic. The argument escalated into a shouting match, with Sonny bringing up Morgan and Connie's deaths. Suddenly, Sonny felt chest pains and immediately concerned until she saw a bottle of pills fall from Sonny's pocket. Well, look what we have here," she said with a sly smile. "Do you need these?" Liz walked into Carly's room to find her packing for her release. Carly was ready to check herself out against medical advice, so Liz was about to get Lucas to sign the paperwork. Carly asked her not to so she wouldn't get another lecture about Jack. Liz, however, thought Carly needed to be cautious. Being poisoned was awful, but all this well-meaning advice might be worse. How I move forward is my choice, no one else's, Carly said. Liz finally relented and allowed Carly to go. Carly's first stop was Jack's office. He immediately told her she should still be resting in the hospital. Jack wouldn't let Carly get a word in, saying, "I know why you're here. I know you want to end things. You almost died because of me. I don't blame you, but please just let me speak." Carly interrupted him. "Instead of explaining why I'm here, let me tell you," she said. Carly warned Jack that Jason was after him. "He's decided that whatever happens to me from here on out will happen to you too," Carly said. Jack brushed it off, saying he wasn't afraid of Jason. Carly insisted that he should be. "I don't care about Jason, I only care about you. I care about you and what happened to me because of you," he said, explaining the hard, lonely life of being a WSB agent. "I need you, Carly," he added. Carly told Jack that she had no intention of walking away. "I want to know what it is," Carly said. "I don't want to overthink things. I want to dive in and explore every moment with you. I need you too," she added. They sealed their commitment with a kiss. After Vaughn punched Jocelyn in the face as part of her WSB training, Joss slowly got up and made it clear she wasn't quitting. "Sorry to disappoint," she said before kicking Vaughn in the chest and falling to the floor again, her ankle hurting. As Vaughn looked at her ankle, Joss admitted it had been bothering her for days. She hadn't said anything earlier because she didn't want to be called a whining baby. Vaughn advised her to ask for help the next time she got hurt. Rick approached Liz at the nurse's station, curious why she'd summoned him. Liz pulled Rick aside and said she was concerned about Portia. Rick asked why Liz was coming to him with her concerns about her friend. "Well, because the other day you visited Portia. Since you two aren't close, I assumed you were acting as her attorney," Liz explained. "Portia hired me. She's seen me in action and knows I'm an exceptional lawyer," Rick boasted, but he refused to reveal to Liz exactly why Portia hired him. This only made Liz more uneasy. "How much trouble is she in?" Elizabeth asked. Rick remained vague. "Let's just say my experience helping you with the board could be useful to Portia if certain details come to light," he replied. Liz said she understood what it felt like to defend yourself when you're innocent. "Who says she's innocent?" Rick muttered under his breath, then became cryptic again. Rick then asked Liz for a favor. He wanted her to gather any patient lab records Portia may have had access to. "I'm her friend. I want to help, but tell me, how bad is it?" she asked. "Bad enough to ruin her life," Rick replied. Lulu burst into Jack's office, demanding that he swear Valentin was really on his way to Steinmauer. Jack swore he had personally escorted Valentin onto the plane. "If it were up to the WSB, he'd be dead," Jack said. Lulu sought reassurance that Valentin wouldn't show up and take Charlotte, but her concerns still lingered. "What if the people who want Valentin gone use Charlotte to get to him? How do I protect my daughter?" she asked. Jack again reassured her, telling her to relax. Brooklyn, Tracy, and Maxie met up at the deception office. Brooklyn was upset that Lulu was late for work. Maxie was frustrated because a spot on Home and Heart had opened up, but their TV spokeswoman was nowhere to be found. Typical. "Every time I wish that woman would leave our house, and when she finally does, it causes a problem," Tracy commented before asking Brooklyn how long her mother would be away. Brooklyn told Tracy that Lois would be in Bensonhurst for a few days, but Tracy wasn't convinced. "What's going on with your mother?" she asked. Brooklyn explained that Lois just wanted to spend some time with Gloria. Once Maxie left for a meeting, Tracy persisted. "It's not like your mother to leave without saying goodbye," she observed. Brooklyn tried to brush it off, but Tracy had her suspicions. "You had a fight. Your mother makes a big deal about going to the dentist, let alone going home to Bensonhurst," she said. Brooklyn insisted it was just a disagreement. She didn't want to talk about it and asked Tracy to drop the subject. Tracy picked up on the hint and backed off, leaving the office. Brooklyn was relieved, but Lulu had an announcement. "I quit," she said. Lulu explained that she'd been considering quitting, but her conversation with Chase sealed the deal. "He said everything you wanted him to when you sent him after me," Lulu said. Brooklyn defended herself, claiming she had no idea that Chase would talk to Lulu. Emma and Gio found Ned in the Key solarium and presented him with a plan to save the crypt. What if we offered the city another patch of land elsewhere on the property in exchange for keeping the crypt where it is? Emma suggested. Ned liked the idea but thought he had a better, similar plan. He didn't reveal the details, so Emma and Gio left the room. When Tracy got home, she told Ned that the two college students seemed disappointed, but she was more focused on family matters. Lois and Brooklyn had a major argument, Tracy revealed. Ned was curious. Tracy was determined to uncover the reason. Ned hadn't even known Lois was back in Brooklyn. He had sensed tension between Lois and Brooklyn, but was trying to respect his daughter's privacy. Tracy could only laugh at his idea of respecting privacy. Ned then shared his idea for dealing with Drew. Use the bombshell he's been hiding from Willow, Ned suggested. Oh, that he's been involved with her mother, Tracy guessed. However, Tracy felt they should save this leverage for later, as they might one day need it against Nana, not Drew. We just have to wait for the right moment, Tracy said. Today on General Hospital, Rick seeks Liz's help for Portia, Maxie gives Lucas some love advice, and Lulu makes a major decision regarding deception. At the WSB training facility, Jost refuses to quit, sparring with Vaughn and landing a kick, only to collapse in pain afterward. Vaughn quickly notices she's hurt and realizes her ankle injury isn't recent. She admits it happened 2 days ago. He scolds her and insists that if she's injured, she should ask for help. Vaughn warns that fighting alone could get her killed and stresses the importance of using good judgment and knowing when to seek help. He wraps her ankle and shares a story about his mentor who didn't need to rely on training during her own career. Joss realizes the point of their training is to use force as a last resort, and Vaughn confirms that violence often escalates situations. She asks about his path to becoming an agent, but Vaughn evades the question with a smile, offering a suggestion to call it a day. He says he'll see her tomorrow. At the hospital, Liz finds Carly preparing to leave. Liz tells her she hasn't been cleared yet and advises calling Lucas. Carly brushes off the suggestion, already feeling overwhelmed by lectures from Felicia, Lucas, and Jason. Carly walks out in frustration. Later, Rick arrives after Liz calls him. He asks how he can help, and she leads him aside to talk privately. She expresses concern for Portia, feeling something isn't right. Rick admits Portia hired him, and Liz asks what trouble she might be in. Rick reassures her this stays between them but explains that Portia could face legal issues. Liz empathizes, having been falsely accused before. Rick says, who says she's innocent? Rick asks if Liz can access records to check which test records Portia accessed over the last year. Liz agrees to look into it but wonders how bad things really are. Rick answers, bad enough to ruin her life, and thanks her. Ava approaches Lucas in the hospital hall, explaining her emergency. She asks if Julian left him an inheritance, but Lucas says no. Ava suggests there might be hidden money, but Lucas insists he wouldn't touch it. He assures her that Sonny will always take care of Avery. Lulu visits Brennan at his office, checking on Valentin's journey to Steamauer. Brennan confirms Valentin boarded the plane himself. Lulu remains worried that Valentin's enemies might come after Charlotte. Brennan assures her that only the WSB has access to Valentin, and Charlotte is safe. Lulu feels Valentin's decision to send Charlotte to her was the right one, but she wonders if Valentin's care for Charlotte is his fatal mistake. Brennan believes it's why Valentin chose his dangerous path, but with Charlotte safe, Lulu doesn't have to worry. Carly later arrives to talk to Jack. Jack thinks she's there to end things, but she reassures him that she's not. She warns him about Jason, saying that whatever happens to her will happen to him. Carly insists Jack should fear Jason. Jack remains unshaken, focusing on his need for Carly. He shares that being an agent is lonely and isolating, but now he needs her. Carly admits she needs him too and wants to be together despite the risks. At Deception, Brooklyn vents to Maxie about Lulu's tardiness and password changes. Brooklyn asks about Maxie's call earlier with Home and Heart. Maxie shares she was going to book a spot for them, but found out Lois how long Lois will be gone, and Brooklyn guesses a few days. Maxie insists more opportunities will come and leaves for her appointment. Once alone, Tracy presses Brooklyn for details about her fight with Lois, sensing something is wrong. Brooklyn brushes it off, but Tracy sees she's upset. Tracy leaves, but Brooklyn remains visibly troubled. Lulu arrives and is greeted by Brooklyn's frustration over her password changes. Lulu announces she's quitting, citing her husband's visit as the final straw. She accuses Brooklyn of having Chase talk to her. Brooklyn denies it, but Lulu explains that Chase used his position to pressure her into silence. Lulu argues that the situation directly involves her family and accuses Brooklyn of manipulating her. Maxie arrives at the hospital for an appointment with James' doctor and runs into Lucas. He shares details of his Miami trip and the drama with Brad, but he also mentions a bright spot: Marco. He thinks he ruined things with Marco, but Maxie encourages him to reach out. She insists that long-distance relationships work, and he should at least text Marco. She leaves, reminding him to do so. At the Quartermain mansion, Gio and Emma present a plan to save the Quartermain crypt. Emma suggests trading part of the land for preservation of the crypt's location. Gio proposes the shoreline, which would benefit the egrets and generate good publicity for the family. Ned agrees it's a solid plan but hints at an alternative approach. Tracy returns home and tells Ned about Lois and Brooklyn's fight. She fills him in on Lois' departure and Brooklyn's refusal to discuss it. Ned senses tension between them but believes Lois would have informed him if it were truly important. He decides to respect Brooklyn's privacy. Ned turns the conversation to Drew and suggests using his affair with Nina to leverage him. Tracy wonders if Drew will call their bluff. Ned answers that if Drew does, they'll expose his relationship with Willow. Tracy believes using the Nina secret against her would be more strategic, and Ned agrees, acknowledging her influence could be useful down the line. Gio and Emma head to the boathouse. Emma is disappointed Ned didn't approve their plan, but Gio believes if someone within the family supports it, they might have a chance. Emma agrees and realizes Gio has someone in mind to help. Christina visits Sonny, revealing new information about Ava's financial troubles. She explains that Ava is overextended and begged her mother for a loan from the Casadine estate. Christina suggests Sonny could use this to gain custody of Avery, but Sonny insists the custody situation is settled. He tells her to keep the information in mind, but focuses on spending time with Donna. Ava arrives, seeking more child support for Avery. Sonny, aware of her financial struggles, offers to help as she asks directly, but Ava insists she needs $2 million. She promises it's a loan she'll repay. Sonny agrees to lend the money on the condition they revisit their custody arrangement, suggesting that Ava's custody be reduced to 2 weekends a month. Ava refuses, arguing it would be like selling her daughter. Sonny responds coldly, accusing her of using Avery as a means to get money. The argument escalates and Sonny collapses, clutching his chest. Ava rushes to his side as he fumbles for his pills. He drops them, and Ava smirks as she spots them on the floor, remarking, My, look here. Do you need those? Come back to our channel for all your updates. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.